Hello, welcome to my channel WWE Pulse.
The Hardy Boys are one of the most legendary tag teams of all time. Matt and Jeff Hardy will go down in history as pioneers for their brand of daredevil wrestling that put them in constant peril, but also led to some of the greatest hardcore matches ever. But this is their greatest match. A time where tag team wrestling was stale. The Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian were looking to shake things up by introducing tables, ladders, and chairs into their match. But two young up-and-comers named Matt and Jeff Hardy took that idea and ran with it, incorporating more risk and more athleticism to create the most dangerous, exciting matches wrestling had ever seen. Now, there's a lot of talk about who invented TLC. And while the Dudleys and Edge and Christian did have the first TLC match in WWE, it was the Hardys who really made the concept their own, pushing it to the limit with their high-flying antics and death-defying stunts that changed the way people thought about tag team wrestling forever. Matt and Jeff Hardy started out as a duo in the Smoky Mountain Wrestling promotion owned by Jim Cornette, where they were trained by none other than legendary wrestler and trainer Al Snow. As soon as they debuted, it was clear these two had something special. Matt with his black vest and backwards baseball cap, and Jeff sporting face paint and a mohawk. By 1994, they were already making a name for themselves. And it wasn't long before bigger promotions took notice. It wasn't long before they found themselves in the main event seat, feuding with the likes of the Dudley Boys and the Public Enemy. On December, they would capture their first tag team titles when they defeated the Dudley Boys and beat them to retain those titles. The next month at the ECW's biggest show of the year, the December to Remember, they successfully defended their belts against none other than Edge and Christian. Their success in ECW caught the attention of WWE. And in October 1998, they debuted on the then renamed WWF. Unfortunately, they didn't hit it off with the fans right away, and were actually booed heavily during their early appearances. So WA decided to turn them heel and align them with the corporation. Then came the night that changed everything. On the February 7th, 1999 episode of Raw, the Dudleys and Edge and Christian faced the Hardys in a tables, ladders, and chairs, and it ended in controversy after the Dudleys retained the titles when Devon interfered in a pin attempted by Jeff Hardy. This planted the seed for what would become the greatest feud in tag team wrestling history. After the match, the Hardys confronted Vince McMahon and told him that they should be the ones to win the titles. When he denied their request, Matt turned on him, delivering a low blow and a twist of fate. The following week, they were given another shot at the titles, but again, the Dudleys managed to retain. It was an instant classic. Every near fall had the crowd on the edge of their seats. He climbed the ladder, but before he could retrieve the briefcase, the Dudley Boys ambushed him. The crowd went wild. The Hardys had captured their first tag team titles in WWE. But the feud wasn't over yet. The Hardys celebrated in the ring after their big win when suddenly the lights went out. When they came back on, the Dudley Boys were nowhere to be seen, and in their place were two figures wearing masks and wielding kendo sticks. They attacked the Hardys, sending a message that the feud was far from finished. These new challengers called themselves the Good and the Bad Brothers, a reference to the original Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Their leader, Bubba Ray, was known simply as Brother Ray. His brother, Devon, was called Brother Devon. They continued to torment the Hardys attacking them whenever and wherever they could. The tension was at an all-time high. The Hardys had to find a way to stop the Dudley Boyz once and for all. At SummerSlam in August, they finally got their chance. In a tables match, the Hardys came out on top after Matt hit a Swanton bomb off the ladder onto both Dudleys. But as they were celebrating their victory, the music hit, and out came the newest members of the WCW, the Basham Brothers. They jumped the Hardys and powerbombed Matt through a table. It was obvious WWE was trying to make a statement. The tag team division was heating up like never before. The next month at Unforgiven, the Hardys teamed up with the Acolytes to take on the Dudley Boyz and the Basham Brothers in a four-way tag team turmoil match. In this match, there were two rings, one inside and one outside. If you were tagged in, you had to enter the match through the other ring. The rules were designed to keep everyone fresh and ensure a fast-paced action. The goal was to eliminate all other teams and be the last one standing. And that's what the Hardys did. After Matt hit the Swanton bomb on both the Basham Brothers, they stood tall as the winners of the match. But their reign of dominance was short. At the next pay-per-view, No Mercy, the Dudley Boyz got their rematch. And thanks to interference from the returning Edge and Christian, they were able to capture the titles for a third time. Edge and Christian were finally turning on the Hardys, costing them matches and impeding their progress. The brothers were furious. They wanted revenge. They demanded a TLC match at the next pay-per-view, Survivor Series, and WWE granted their wish. The match was brutal. The Hardys performed a move called a poetry in motion, where Jeff leaped from the top rope to the ladder in the corner and delivered a twisting leg drop to Matt, who was hanging onto the ladder. For his part, Matt wasn't outdone. Later in the match, he launched himself off the ladder and hit a moonsault onto Edge and Christian, crashing to a table. In the end, though, it wasn't enough. The Hardys lost to Edge and Christian in a controversial finish after Christian hit a low blow on Jeff. Despite the loss, the fans knew they had just witnessed another instant classic, but this was just the beginning. Over the next few months, the Hardys and Edge and Christian tore the house down at every single pay-per-view. At WrestleMania 2000, they headlined the first ever tag team triple threat match at the event, which Edge and Christian won. Then at Backlash, they had a tables match that ended in a no contest. After all, 6 men brawled and caused a disqualification. Finally, at Judgment Day, the Hardys won the titles back for a second time in a 60-minute Iron Man match. They retained the belts against Edge and Christian at SummerSlam in another amazing match. But the following month at No Mercy, they lost the titles to the Dudley Boyz in a 3-way dance that also involved Edge and Christian. It was around this time that the WWE was starting to lose steam. The product was becoming repetitive and stale. Viewers were tuning out in droves, and the company needed a savior. Enter Steve Austin. He returned from injury and led a movement that breathed new life into the WWE, capturing the imagination of fans and putting butts in seats. However, not everyone was happy with Austin's methods. One person in particular was upset with how Austin treated people, including his fellow wrestler. Enter the faction known as the Corporation, led by the devious Shane McMahon. Their goal was simple: to destroy Paul.
Excellent.
On the March 12th, 2001 episode of Raw, Austin and the Hardys teamed up to take on the PLEs and the McMahon's lackeys during the match. Austin accidentally hit Matt Hardy with a stunner. This caused a huge rift between him and the Hardys. A few weeks later, the brothers confronted Austin, demanding an explanation. Austin told them that he didn't do it on purpose and that he was sorry. But the damage was done. The Hardys couldn't forgive him and they left PLEs, joining the corporation instead. This led to a tag team title match at WrestleMania, where Austin and the Hardys took on the PLEs and the McMahon's lackeys. In a shocking finish, Austin accidentally hit Jeff Hardy with another stunner, costing them the match. After the bell rang, Austin and Jeff got into a massive brawl, which ended with Austin giving Jeff his final stunner. The corporation tried to recruit Austin into their fold, but he refused. Instead, he sided with the Hardys, helping them defeat the PLEs in a no-one contenders match the following week on Raw. Then at Backlash, Austin and the Hardys won the tag team titles from the Dudley Boyz. But the celebration was shortened. At Judgment Day, Austin was drafted to SmackDown in the first ever WWE draft. He said goodbye to his friends in the locker room, including the Hardys. But before long, he would be back in the ring, competing for the WWE Championship once again. With Austin gone, the Hardys were on their own once again. They held the titles for a few months, defending them against the likes of Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boyz. But eventually, they lost the belts to the Dudley Boyz at SummerSlam in August. This marked the end of the Hardys' second WWE run. They had accomplished everything there was to accomplish in the company. And now it was time for a new challenge. As we know, the Hardys went on to have successful careers in TNA Impact Wrestling. They also competed in various independent promotions and even made appearances in Hollywood movies and TV shows. But there's no denying that their time in WWE was truly special. From their death-defying feats in TLC matches to their iconic feud with the Dudley Boyz, the Hardys will always be remembered as one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Okay guys, thank you for watching my videos.